That's a picture of Father in the rose garden, and it looks as though he's caught a rabbit stealing something. Well, Father would never go away from the garden. He didn't have holidays. He'd be in the potting shed a lot in the winter, taking little cuttings and putting them in the greenhouse ready for transplanting, you see. And he'd be storing fruit and all sorts of things like that, which had to be checked. That's the house. Used to look onto the fields, and in the season, perhaps Saturday or Sunday, when we were having lunch, you'd suddenly hear the hunting horn, and you'd see the hunt going past. Those are the railings that separated the field from our garden, and that's my sister. She used to work at Bruneston. That's my cousin who lived in Ellesmere, and she used to work at Bruneston, and it must have been the half day off, and we used to put a plank through there and make it into a seesaw. And that's the well, and that's 1906. I mean, I was too young to take in depths and things like that. Father used to just let me lean over, and he'd hold onto my legs and things and throw a stone down. And it took ages before you heard it plop at the bottom. He used to start early in the morning, and he'd come home for lunch. And nobody will get into trouble for this, I'm sure. Father was a very, very honest man, really. But he also loved my mother. And he'd come home, and Mother, Mrs. Soames, wouldn't get the first rose. Mother would get the first rose. And do you know how it came? He'd put it on his head, and he always wore a trilby, or never wore a cap, trilby or a Panama in the summer, and it was under his hat. And he'd bring the first rose home for Mother. I always remember that.